This month on From the Horsebox, I am very excited to introduce two special guests, Tom and Alex Painter. Tom is a seasoned gamekeeper with years of experience and a wealth of knowledge about the sport, the wildlife and the land that it thrives on. Alex has also made a name for himself in his own right, as his expertise has also given him opportunities in many of the other local shoots in North Wales. So a very warm welcome and thank you for sparing the time. I'm going to take this opportunity to find out, some of the knowledge that I don't have, because you do things, I know you do things in the proper way.
So, thank you.
So Tom, you spent decades out in the fields and you've seen sort of keepering and looking after game birds all these years and how things have changed. Have you taught Alex here everything he needs to know?
I hope they have, but I should say he's mostly taught himself.
Yeah.
Through watching me doing stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how I learned. You've got to be keen in this line of work. If you're not, don't take it on.
No, it's because you make a living out of it, both of you, but it's also your way of life.
Yeah. People go to work, have a job. This is not classed as a job to us. No. This is our life, way we live from day to day. Yeah. And it's been like that for quite a while.
Yeah, how many decades would you say, Tom, are in this part of the Mila?
I've been here 45 years.
Yeah.
And prior to that, I was in Cornwall with Lord Falmouth on there, head keeper. And prior to that, where I started originally up in Dorrington in Shropshire, Netley Hall, many moons ago.
Yeah. So, Alex, is it a two-way street? Is there ever a chance for you now, because you've seen how things are done in lots of different shoots, you're quite experienced now. So do you ever get to put your point of view forward and
I'd say so, definitely. There's always time for change in different things, but mostly things stay the same, don't need change.
So it's just in minor details.
Pretty much, really, yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll hear some more about that in a minute. So you started off as a small boy. You were keen from the get-go, weren't you? Yeah. Have you got a story about your earliest memories?
Not really.
Well, what about choices over, what you wanted to do? Was it school? Was it the shooting?
Oh, definitely.
Was it the wildlife?
As you said before, it's a way of life. You brought up into it. It's something that you enjoy and enjoy being out there. Yeah.
So what was your first gun and how old were you?
First gun was a 410. Don't know how old, what would it have been? 4, 5?
Yeah, very young.
Very young.
Yeah.
And you were taught the safety?
Safety first, obviously, with no cartridges in and whatever.
No cartridges,
Still got the gun today.
Yeah. And could you hit something? What age could you actually hit a target?
Father would probably tell you more than me.
What age was that then, Tom?
Pretty straight away, really. Obviously, you have to learn how to hold the gun properly and what to do safety-wise. But
so you taught him all that?
He was much in it pretty from day one. Pretty good straight away, and he's still a very good shot now.
Yeah.
Very good.
So, Tom, you learned your skills.
No, Dorrington.
Netley
Hall.
So, what was your pathway there?
Underkeeper.
Yeah.
Then the opportunity arose for me to go down to Cornwall to work for Lord Falmouth, which I went down there.
Was that a bigger shoot and more
10,000 acres estate. Oh yeah, private shoot. Lord Falmouth, cousin to the Queen. And I've met...
Was that as keeper or as an underkeeper?
Underkeeper.
Yeah.
And the head keeper left and I was promoted to head keeper. But not long after, this opportunity up in Wales came up because the guy who was going to take the shoot on, he knew me and I knew him, and I was offered to come up.
So is that how it works? It's word of mouth?
Yeah, a lot of it's word of mouth. I don't know about these days, but it was then. Because it was a bigger community then, back then in them days. A lot more keepers, what they are now. And you used to keep in contact a lot more. And so-and-so's after somebody, and that's how it got about. But like the Shooting Times magazine, the early ones, it was like a piece of newspaper. And the jobs, if you were out of one job one day, you'd be in another one the next. There was that many jobs advertised. But today, you'd be lucky to find one in a magazine.
So, Alex, you went to college, didn't you? Did you find the course, I know, memories must be hazy by now, but did you find the course helpful in any way?
Yeah, definitely helpful in the respect of learning new skills with chainsaws, quad bikes, and getting the qualifications to use them was very helpful, yeah.
Have you taught the tutors more than...
Well, yes, because you obviously were living and breathing it.
It was a very new course started at the time as well. We were the first 4 on the course that year. So.
When I went down there, these guys, they were in awe.
Yeah.
And these guys, and I think, well, how come are you teaching these then? He knows more than you.
Yes. You see, I'm asking you now, and I'm trying to learn from you, Tom. It's not a very easy thing to learn. These traditional skills are, as you say, condensed, but your knowledge is so specialised and so special that, we do need to.
It's passed on from old generation.
Exactly.
And what I know now, prior to my time, there would be other skills before that, which they've gone.
Yes, they have.
They've lost altogether.
Yeah, I mean, how to keep birds alive, how to breed them. Not many people can do any of that.
No, well, the old days, it was with broody hens and all that, which people don't know what to do these days. Well, I used to go around the farms, knock on the door, have you got a broody hen? Pay them a shilling or whatever, and once you finish with it, you take it back.
So, look, just going back to the early times in the Mila here, what sort of species and animals would you see that you don't see now? To show me how things have changed.
Bird life is dropped tremendous.
Yeah.
The only other animal life is rabbit population is depleted a large amount. Well, that's through this new liver disease you get now. All right, we used to have the myxomatosis, which did a lot of damage, but this new one is far worse. There is a bit of a population coming back quietly at the minute, but how long that will last, I don't know, until they get this disease.
But hares, I mean, we see lots of those.
Hares
they don't get it then?
No, because they don't live down a burrow, do they? They live on top of ground. But hares, there's a good number of hares. It's nice to see them about.
But what bird species would you see that you don't see now?
Curlews.
They were plentiful, were they?
They used to nest on the estate. Lapwings used to nest up here. This is when farmers used to plough the fields, which they don't these days. A lot of finches, flycatchers.
And you can identify all these.
Yeah. Well, that was my interest from a little boy. Yeah. It is one of them things I locked onto.
So, Alex, what would you say in terms of wildlife that you see today in the Mila?
We're getting quite a lot of red kites around, building up over the last few years, seeing more and more every year, so they must be breeding locally with us. So
what other birds of prey do you see?
Lots of buzzards.
Lots?
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of buzzards. Occasionally starting to see more barn owls. It's very nice to see.
Is there a relation between the number of buzzards and the rabbit population? Is there a connection? Because obviously the food supply.
It was their main food supply.
Yeah.
But when on a shooting estate, their main food supply now is young pheasants.
Oh, so that's
easy
the problem,
catch. Easy catch. But if,
Do you are
There's
you able
ways
to
and
manage
means.
so
Yeah.
both species
yeah,
have a chance?
kites are no problem because they're scavengers. They'd prefer to eat somebody else's kill than rather kill themselves.
Right. So, Alex, you visit a lot of other shoots now, and have quite a breadth of experience, because there are a number of shoots, aren't there, locally?
Yeah,
here in
definitely,
and Wales is
yeah.
a big. That's a whole major part of its economy. So, have you ever been grouse shooting?
I haven't been lucky enough to be actually shooting grouse, but I've been lucky enough to go loading.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
And
was a
what's
very
that?
nice experience.
What's that like?
Completely different altogether.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, very, very fast and furious sort of bird. Again, interesting because you can't rear them. They're all wild birds. So it's
Why can't you? I mean, you can rear pheasants, you two.
You can rear grouse,
Oh, right. If you're good
but
enough.
you can't put them back to the wild.
Oh, so that doesn't work.
Can you?
No. Why doesn't it work to rear them in the same way?
Well, you just can't put them back to the wild because in the wild they eat on heather seeds. That's the main.
Yeah.
Well, in captivity, there's a food made like pheasant feed, and from chicks, if they're fed it, they will take it. But you can't put them back
And they won't eat
on
it
the heather.
back.
They won't take it back. They won't.
So the heather is crucial.
Oh yeah, to
Heather's
the grouse.
crucial.
Yeah.
Looking after the
Yeah,
moorlands is a whole different
world up there.
topic, which I don't think we've got into now, but there's a lot of
Yeah.
hoo-ha about that, isn't there? But so what did you notice about the moor when you were grouse shooting and the diversity of the wildlife?
the abundance of wildlife, different species.
Even though you were shooting the
There was
grouse?
that many different species about up there, bird life.
Like what?
Curlews, skylarks, short-eared owls, peregrines.
You
just
saw
to name
them?
a few. Yeah, all of them, yeah.
Did you?
And many more, yeah. Just to name a few.
And there were birds of prey happily
Yeah.
living alongside all that.
Alongside, yeah.
That's incredible. But so in a world where nobody spends much time on anything these days, 3 seconds is a concentration span. The hours you two must spend and creating this biodiversity. How do you do all that? Because you rear all your own, don't you?
Yeah, but you don't think about it. It's if there's something got to be done, you do it. But it's not like
It's 24 hours. It must be 24 hours.
It's not a chore. It's not a chore like going to work in a factory. It's one of them things. Something happens in the day, go and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not forced to do it, but you go to do it because you know it needs to be done.
In terms of sustainability, to rear your own in situ on your own shoot and you make your living, that's quite a special thing, is in terms of sustainability.
Yeah.
Because where do most people on shoots get their game
Most from game farms.
From huge game farms, yeah.
Yeah, which the cost is.
Yeah, which
Obviously
alters the
higher.
cost.
Yeah.
But I read somewhere that only 11% of people can make a living out of a smaller shoot.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of outlay, as you can imagine. But we've got it down to a fine art. As we can make a living. We're not fantastic, we're not mega rich, but we can make a nice living, and we're comfortable, and that's all we need.
So, am I right in thinking that it's like farming? You've got the variables, that you are dealing with. You've got a market which isn't certain, and you've got the weather which isn't certain, and your outlay has to come first. So it is another style of farming, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It is. Yeah, to a degree.
So let's have a look at this sustainability and the numbers you're able to of birds you're able to put down, because this is a big issue, isn't it? Because the larger shoots, I mean, it does get criticism, if you're overstocking and overshooting. Yeah. How do you get that balance between earning the living, the numbers of birds and customers and and the expectation of people?
Well, I've never got into this big number thing.
No.
It's nothing I'm interested in.
No.
But that all boils down to money again.
Yeah.
If you've got clients who are going to pay that, well, they will. Somebody will jump on and say, oh, right, we're going to do such and such. But I don't want to go into that.
No.
No, we get on 100, 150 biggest days, and that's fantastic.
That seems really good to me, good number.
And that's ample
Yeah.
for anybody
Yes.
to shoot in a day.
Well, I think this is how things are going, isn't it?
You've got to, it will turn on, it'll turn around eventually.
So our farmland in this country and the covers and the terrain, it lends itself. I know a lot of it was planted specifically for the sporting covers in the first place.
Yeah, correct.
Is it unique in the world that it lends itself to this style of shooting?
It is. There is other places, but over in Europe, Germany, places like that, France, they stopped it now. But they're trying to get it. There is one place in America which has been planted like an English estate for the purpose of game shooting. That's a new thing, that is. Yeah. Because a lot of Americans don't come over here, don't they?
Yes, they certainly do. What is their style? I mean, I know they call it hunting, don't they?
Yeah.
They call shooting hunting. What do you notice anything about there? Have you come across them, Alex?
Come across, when loading more so, but they tend to at home. Over in America, they tend to do a lot of walk-up shooting, completely different to the driven.
Yeah.
So some of the newer ones they're not used to the driven birds. Completely different style to shooting altogether.
So do you have to prepare them for a different style?
In certain way, look after them to make sure the safety reasons, because when they walked up, they haven't got the people around them like they do on a driven day.
They tell me you're very good at the people side on your shoot, that you're good at looking after people and the hospitality, which is a main reason people come back.
It's part of the whole package, really.
It is.
You've got to get on with people and you've got to treat them the right way. And Alex has been brought up with older people than his younger ones.
Used to dealing
so
with
he can
that.
He gets on with older people far better than younger people.
But you do get younger people wanting to shoot.
Oh yeah.
It is do you think it's a growing in popularity, shooting?
I wouldn't say growing within the respect
of game shooting.
I wouldn't say with the younger generation.
Yeah,
they seem to be dying out with the younger generation. You don't get the younger beaters and pickers up like you used to years ago. You haven't got, and that's the way a lot of people start off, beating and picking and work themselves up the chain up to a day's shooting.
Do you think it's because of the expense or draws on their time?
A bit of both, really, I would say.
Because I've been to this local shooting shop and it seems to be absolutely thriving with customers and equipment. Is that something different?
Yeah, it's a different angle then.
People are buying into it.
There's a lot of people do clay shooting. There's a lot do that, which is a different ball game. But yeah, they like to do it. That's where I think you'll find a lot of these gun shops make a living through selling guns and cartridges. The guys going clay shooting. A lot of women in it now. A lot of women come into it, and of course we've got women now in the gamekeeping world.
Yes, yeah.
And there is some good ones as well.
Yeah, that sounds.
That's changed.
Well, that sounds a real plus point to
me.
Yeah,
years ago, with poo-poo, nobody would have entertained it.
No. What happens to the game that is shot? Presumably it goes to the food chain.
Yeah, we've got one guy takes most of it, and guns take it, and a little what we have left gets put in the freezer.
So you live
nothing
on
gets
it.
wasted.
You live on it.
Yeah, nothing gets wasted.
No,
nothing at all.
So what would have the better life, the bird that produces the chicken nugget, or the bird that goes into your casseroles? I mean, that's a major point, isn't it?
Quite easy to, the bird it's out in the wild. It's got to have far better life than stuck in a shed.
On this same hospitality thing, gun buses are. I'm quite interested to see these gun buses. You don't use one, do you?
We used to have one.
Did you?
But it didn't last. People didn't like to go in it. They preferred to use their own vehicle to get where we were going.
Yeah. So what do you think in generally? Are they useful depending on the shoot?
Yeah, I think a lot depends on the shoot and the terrain that you're going over, whether it's easy enough to get one around. But as Father said, a lot of people don't like to go in one.
Why?
Like to be in their own vehicle. They've got all everything they need in their own vehicle.
But isn't it fun when you all pile in this vehicle? It looks a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah. It's just another tool to get from A to B. If you got the banter, which you can with beaters, but guns. See on quite a few days, not so much hours, on these big shoots. A lot of the guns won't know each other.
So that'd be a good thing for them all to get into the guns.
Yeah, but they don't seem to want to.
Well, I suppose it's up to them.
Yeah, it's up to them. But if you've got a party of guns that know each other, that's a different story.
I remember putting the tailboard up on an Ifor Williams trailer being used as a gun boss once and thoroughly enjoying banging the tailboard up on them all. So, Alex, is the white pheasant a different type of pheasant or just a different colour?
Just a different colour, really. Some places don't like to put them out, others do. It's a bit of a marker bird to put one in one pen and see where it sort of ends up, see where the rest of them are going, sort of thing. And again, it's a bit of a bounty on a shoot day if somebody goes and shoots one.
So there's no superstition around
No, not at all.
It's just the same as any other.
Yeah, in a lot of places they put a bounty and the money goes to charity.
Oh, does it?
Raise funds for air ambulance and things like that.
People think they're albino, but they're not.
No, they're not. No. Are they quite rare or?
No, it's just pigment in the face.
You said there were 45 or 46 true species of pheasant in the world.
There's a lot of subspecies after that. Like what we call the game pheasant. There's quite a few subspecies all through the world. Chinese, ringneck, Bohemian, Russian. There's all over different parts of the world. But they're all a game pheasant. But they all appear. They've got different character markings on them. Some have big white bands. Some are a lot smaller. And of course, our game pheasant today is basically a lot of that, other from bred to get what we got today.
You choose that one over these fancy breeds of pheasant.
What was this? 30, 40 years ago, there was a lot of pheasants put out that wouldn't fly, not good for the sport.
No. So
this is why all these new species from other parts of the world got brought in to crossbreed to get a better strain of bird back. It's worked because it hasn't occurred. It's only occurred once since I've been here. They wouldn't fly. So it's obviously worked. But you try and keep the true species to England if you can, which is the old English blackneck. That was the original one brought over by the Romans many thousands of years ago.
So ideally, from your point of view, you need a healthy, disease-free bird to provide the sport which has meat on it because it goes into the food chain. And how do you keep them healthy?
Well, it's just the rearing of the birds. At time to time, you've got to go to the vet. You've got to watch how your water's kept clean and everything. And it's worked. And you can't put as many in as a rearing shed. We cut the numbers down, less stress. Stress is a big thing with pheasants. As soon as it gets stressed out, everything starts.
Yeah.
And you start having trouble again.
So, Alex, during the COVID, when people were stuck at home, you told me that there was quite an interest in keeping chickens.
Yeah, you
were able to provide.
Yeah, everybody wanted to keep chickens. I couldn't get enough to sell. Everybody was after them that much for for chicks and to have their own eggs because people couldn't go out and something to look after while they were stuck indoors and couldn't go out.
What sort of breeds did you?
Mainly just hybrids. People wanted them for eggs, so they were all hybrids bred for just specifically laying.
What's the best one for that?
There's a number of breeds, really. Many breeds.
For the blue eggs, then?
Blue eggs, at the time, were a breed called the Cheshire Blue.
What about little pale green eggs? Can you get those?
You can do. Again, at this current in time, they're hard to get hold of. Everybody's after them at the minute.
And they're what?
Just blue and green eggs, just because they're a different colour. There's no difference to them at all, just the different colour.
Which chicken is the green egg?
The green, probably a Mars bar or an olive egger, Easter egger. There's many different breeds of them.
And how easy is it to keep quail for the little speckled?
Quail are pretty easy to keep.
Are they?
Yeah.
And do they produce
a lot of eggs, and at a very early stage as well.
So did these customers ever return for a second go?
There's quite a few that used to come back having fox problems, and said they got rid of the problem and wanted some more chickens quite regular.
Oh gosh. So it was quite lucrative then.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you ever think of doing anything else, Tom, other than gamekeeping?
The only thing which I did do straight after school was learn to play the guitar. And that brought me into the music business. And looking back, I wish I'd have stayed in it.
So you were good.
It was it's fantastic. I met some fantastic people. We did a gig up in Scarborough where I met Gary Moore and Thin Lizzy.
Did you?
He was the same age as me, then 17. He was in a band called Skid Row. And from there it was leaps and bounds up. I met all sorts of Slade, played with Slade.
You didn't?
Badfinger, lots of people. Met the Bachelors several times.
Did you?
Yeah, Eric Clapton, I met. Yeah, Ronnie Lane, I don't know if people know, he used to be in the Small Faces, bass player for Ronnie Lane.
It's a real rich seam of top people
but
there.
we were good standard. We were a professional band.
What was your band called?
The main one I was in was Playground. And the last one I was in was Chariot.
Have you got any recordings?
Not of them, no. There probably is somewhere. Only recordings I've got was what I do now. I write music.
Do you?
Yeah, and record. And I've got recordings of them, but not way back then, which is a different music genre to what I did before.
So if you go to a concert now, what sort of music would you go to?
I got a friend, Jim Kirkpatrick, very well known in the music business as a guitar player, fantastic. And I go to see Jim, and he's blues and rock, and he's in several bands, but his main band's FM, which started off 40 plus years ago, and they're still going now, and they do big arena events over in Europe where you get 50,000 crowds, big stuff. They are very well known in England, but not as good as in Europe.
I'm a bit of a Slade fan myself.
Slade.
You haven't got a Noddy Holder story, have you?
Noddy, no.
Is that his real name?
Yeah. Well, no, it's shortened, isn't it? They had a big Dave Hills, who was the guitar player then, and Badfinger were on at the same time. There was a bit of a ruckus. We were playing at Whitchurch Civic Centre, and somebody said the wrong word, and it blew up.
So it was quite a sort of
it was a bit heated.
Turbulent world, was it?
They quieted it down. Whether it was put on, I don't know. It could well have been. But no, they were good, very good times.
Now, for our quick-fire questions, I'm going to play some bird sounds and see how quick you are to recognise them.
Pheasant.
Right, next one. Correct. That is a buzzard. Right, next one. Any idea what that is?
Curlew.
Correct. Well done, Alex. Right, the last one. See if you can guess this one. So you said that was a song thrush, but it's actually a field fare.
Right.
So is that...
Same family.
Oh, is it? So
Yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
too far off. Well
Yeah,
done.
Same family.
Sorry, I picked one of the hardest ones. Now, to finish, I wonder if you've got a story or a joke or a motto.
Well, an incident happened, it's many years ago now. We were shooting on D Bank, and there was a gentleman walking down on top of the wood following the beaters. And one of the beaters, Barry, he was the next man to him. And Barry used to relay every time he shot. Missed. This carried
Back
on.
to you.
Back to me, all the way down. And we got to the end of the drive, and Barry couldn't wait to get out and said to him, well, I won't say what he... his actual words, but he boils down to, he says, you're the worst shot I've ever seen. And the gun replied, you haven't seen me brother yet.
In other words, how could you can't get any worse.
And he gave him £20 for his abuse.
So he still gave the tip, and he took it in good part, which speaks well for all the shooters, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to have a sense of humour,
Oh,
haven't
you've
you?
got to, yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much to both of you. And I'd also like to thank two shoot members, Bob and Mike, who provided some valuable insights into this close band of people who've combined their work and play so successfully over many years. Please pass the word on to listen, and remember to tune in on the 1st of the month when it could be you in the driving seat.